Welcome to the TulsaHousePainters.com's Answers to Frequently Asked Questions. The question that gets asked most often is, how much will it cost to have my house painted? So I'm going to give you the best answer I can to that question. House painting costs change quite frequently because there are so many variables that affect the cost of materials and the cost of labor. The cost of oil and energy prices in general affect the cost of paint because it affects the manufacturing cost of base materials and production. The old laws of supply and demand play a huge role in the cost to hire a painting contractor to paint your house. If the housing market in your area is strong and new homes are being built and people are getting their houses ready to sell, then the cost will generally be higher. But if the reverse is true and paint contractors don't have enough work to go around, then they will compete harder to get a share of the fewer jobs that are available to them. It also makes a difference when you want your house painted. In the spring through early fall, the demand for painters is high. If you want the interior of your house painted, you should do that in the winter, and it will be much cheaper because paint contractors are in less demand in the winter. If the economy in your area is strong, then generally hiring a painter will be more expensive because general labor is harder to come by. If the unemployment rate is higher, then more labor supply generally means a lower cost to you. Obviously, the cost to paint your house consists of two components, the cost of paint materials and the cost of labor. On the material side, it is relatively easy for you to determine the cost of painting supplies to paint your home. First, calculate the amount of square footage you have to paint on your home. This doesn't have to be exact, but the more accurate, the better. Subtract the areas for windows that you have. Then, visit a reputable paint store in your area, like Sherwin-Williams, Kelly Moore, or Home Depot. Let them help you select the quality of the paint you want for your home, and give them the square footage you need to paint. From the square footage and type of paint, they can calculate how many gallons it will take to paint your house. Then, ask the store to give you a bid to supply all of the paint. Don't be shy about asking for a quantity discount if they don't offer you one up front. Paint stores almost always will give you a significant discount. Now you know the cost for the paint materials, and this will give you a good idea of the general cost you're looking at. Now you can start working on the labor side of the equation. Let me say up front, there is really no way I can give you an accurate estimate on how much a contractor will charge to paint your house. There are just too many variables in play, so let me tell you what some of those variables are. First of all, contractors won't give you a price quote without actually seeing your house and the scope of the job. If a contractor does give you a quote without seeing your house, then I would be a little skeptical of that. Single-story homes are cheaper to paint than multi-story homes. The amount of time spent on a ladder greatly affects the amount of time required to paint a house. The more windows, doors, and shutters you have that will need to be masked off, the more the labor charge. The number of paint colors you choose is also a factor. If you choose just one color, the painters will have much less masking off to do. If you have a different trim paint, you will pay a little more, and if you have a third color or more, you will have to pay even a little more than that. And finally, as I mentioned before, the law of supply and demand can greatly affect how much a painter will bid for your work. If a contractor has more jobs than he can get done in a 50-hour week, then he will price your job higher. But if there aren't enough painting jobs to go around in your area, he will give you a lower bid. So let's summarize. First, know your paint cost. Find out how much you're going to spend for just the paint to cover your house. Be sure and tell the contractor what brand and grade of paint you want on your house. The contractor usually gets a wholesale price from the paint store that is even lower than your cost. Get bids from multiple contractors. Don't ever get just one bid, and let the contractors know you are getting multiple bids. Ask the contractor to tell you how many labor hours he is estimating for your house. After you get your contractor's price, you can subtract the cost of the paint from the quoted price, and then you'll know how much you are paying for labor. Then you can evaluate the cost per hour of the labor and make sure that seems reasonable to you. I know you are getting multiple bids, but you still want to evaluate them for reasonableness. This will help you determine if all your contractors are quoting the same scope. Like, are they planning to paint the garage doors, the soffits, the shutters, etc.? Make sure they're all planning to do the same thing so you can compare apples to apples. Well, I hope this was helpful. If you want our free guide on how to choose the best house painter in Tulsa, go to our website at tulsahousepainters.com and get our free report. My name is Mike, and be sure to watch our other videos on frequently asked painting questions.